My foot is absolutely soaked.
Armed with a love for running, a thirst for a pint, and a C in GCSE Media Studies, I'm on a mission to prove that the best runs always end in a well-deserved beer. In this series, I'll be exploring the perfect running routes and the best post-run pubs to prove that the ultimate reward for a good run isn't a medal, it's a tasty pint at your favourite pub. Let's go.
Cannock Chase in Staffordshire is known as the Bermuda Triangle of the UK. But I grew up here and I've only been probed a couple of times, so how bad can it actually be? Today I'm going to take you on a run around this 26 square mile forest, looking at some of the spooky events that have happened here, and I'll be rating them on the internationally recognised Boulder scale. Let's go. Not many people playing golf today, probably because it's -1. What's that, 30 degrees Fahrenheit? But you wimps. Running along this lane into Brockton, I'm going to tell you about our first spooky story. The Brockton alien. Late at night on a hill not too far from here, a lady's car stalled out. Just as she started to get worried, she saw this illuminated 7-foot object, humanoid, emerge from the woods. It was wearing a metallic suit. Oh, did I see it? He was wearing a metallic suit, and rather than communicating with her, he decided to start pushing her car up the hill. Now, most aliens are obviously much more interested in probing and abductions. Not this one. It was an intergalactic AA helper who just used its strength to push her up the hill. Didn't say anything else. Once it was finished, it decided just to disappear back into the woods without saying a word. Very little grip today running up this hill. I could definitely use the help of an intergalactic AA worker. So with that, I'm going to give the Brockton alien 2 Malters. Let's keep on going to the next spot. And that's about the biggest of today's hills done with. 2 miles in, looking to do about 13 miles. Half marathon distance today. Nice easy pace, slipping and sliding everywhere. Always makes it fun. Staying with my family at the moment. Again, this is the area I grew up in. Every time I come and see them, they have a weird flavoured shower gel and it's always different. So this time, it's spice lime. It smells exactly like a margarita cocktail. I don't know if I should be washing in it or drinking it, but I'll probably hedge my bets. I don't know if anyone else's parents have weird shower gels or if it's just mine. Turning off the road now into some trail, which I'll spend most of the run on. Bit of history of Cannock Chase. It was created by William the Conqueror about 1,000 years ago as a hunting ground. Now it's known as an area of natural beauty. As I jump through these forms, it's also been rated as one of the UK's top dogging spots 7 years in a row. So do with that information as you choose. Probably a little cold for dogging today. Get those heated seats on, my friends. Thought it might be a bit busier out given it's a Saturday, but maybe this ice is keeping more sensible people away. That's I think it's safe to say I won't be setting any PBs today, will I? And who'd want to in this? The story of the Pigman, depending which version you want to believe, if any at all, dates back to a Cold War experiment where US and British forces conducted a secret experiment, and the result was a pig-human hybrid. that protects the communications tower here. I think the more interesting story goes back a lot longer though into folklore, which is a lady who was impregnated by magic or a curse and gave birth to this pig-human hybrid. My foot is absolutely soaked. How do we get across here? Alright, let's go mound hopping. I was too busy thinking about the pig man. That's the problem. So, whether you believe the stories about government, military experimentation, or the folklore behind a hybrid cursed baby, well, that's up to you. But I think it's got some legs. And coincidentally, I can smell bacon from the cafe behind me over there. So I'm going to give the pig man 3 mortars. Let's go on to the next one. This is it's sort of enjoyable. Alright, while I'm walking, I'll tell you about my next destination, next story. So we're heading over to one of these given cemeteries up on Cannock Chase. During the war, there was over 40,000 prisoners stationed here. Or I say stationed, forced to be here. And you can still see quite a lot of the infrastructure. Currently at the cemetery there's now about 5,000 graves. And while it's peaceful today, that hasn't always been the case. My favourite report by far is that a local claimed they saw the beast, but it was oddly polite, noting it simply stared at him, puffed, and walked back into the trees like it was late for a meeting. Well, it's a great quote. And do stop by the dinner cemetery if you're here. But unfortunately, I think Business Wolf just gets one moulder from me. Alright, it's downhill now. Let's make the most of it. I only stopped for a minute or two back there to get some water and record, but it got cold really quick. So I think I'll keep moving for the rest. I've only seen one other runner out. Don't know what they're missing. A kilometre after the cemetery, all nice and downhill. We've got a choice. We can go left along the valley, and that's nice and flat, or we can go this right, where it's a bit bumpier. Alright, let's go bumpy. Well, it's a little less icy here. I'll tell you about our next mystery. This one's a lot cuter, about Bertie the ghost dog. There's a soldier during the war who had a dog called Bertie. You may have guessed that from the title. Fortunately, when the soldier died, he left Bertie all on his own. Some say, on the roads, they see a ghostly dog leaping out in front of cars when they pull over to see the remains of the tragic accident. Guess what? There's nothing there. I think there's ghost stories about dogs everywhere. I'm not going to give this one a huge amount of credit. But Bertie is a good boy, as all dogs are. So I'll give him a 2. I think this path might have been a good choice. It's maybe because it's under the trees. It's not as icy. It's great. an old pumping station just down there. It was built during the war. We're going to be following the little river all the way to the stepping stones. I'm running in the new Solomon Aero glides today, and they're meant to be sort of a road gravel track hybrid shoe, so definitely not the ideal for running in ice and snow, but to be honest, they're alright. I've only rolled my ankle about 7 times. Yeah, probably should have had something a little bit more rugged. Oh well. And we've reached the stepping stones. And we'll stop for some food. I didn't bring any running and nutrition with me, so raided the family pantry for some jammy dodgers. Should keep me going for a bit. Question is, 2 or 3? Probably 2. Well, not a ghost story, but the stepping stones were put here early 50s, and they were part of the old prison from the Hangman's Tower, where people used to be hung, funny enough. Yeah, bit of history. Carry along this side of the river. Not going to cross over today, because we're heading into the woodlands. Try not to get the sun behind me. So this next story, the Black-Eyed Children, might be the most famous of Cannock Chase. And in fact, probably one of the most famous modern-day ghost stories in the UK. Story goes, as they all do, noises coming from the woods, a screaming, a sobbing, a banshee-like cry. On investigation, people find a lady, young girl, dressed in Victorian clothing. But wait, it's not a scary part. Turns out, you guessed it, she has no eyes, just black spaces where they used to be. The story of the Black-Eyed Children has a fair bit of staying power, and paranormal investigators have come from all over trying to work out what it is. Could it be an alien? Who knows? Could it be the results of disease in Victorian times? Caused the eyes to sunk back in the heads. Pretty spooky stuff anyway. Especially when you're running in an area like this, maybe at night. A little bit more sinister than it is right now. This one clearly has done the rounds. I'm going to give it 4 moulders out of 5. Okay, time for one more. But I'll wait a little bit. And this next one's actually true. So it was around here when I was younger. I saw a snake, the only one I've seen in the UK. It reminded me of, in primary school, a guy called the Snake Man. He would come around with like snakes and spiders and show them to all the kids. But you weren't allowed to scare the snakes by clapping or applauding, so you had to do a special 2-finger clap for them. And I always thought this was weird, because snakes don't have ears. Anyone else have that at school? Coming up to another bit of wartime infrastructure. This was a train line, again built during the war. Very muddy today, but it's a nice downhill. Allows me to get my breath back, all the ice. So as I promised, the last story, this one is true. You may believe the others are true, but I'm a little bit more sceptical. Very much the Scully in this scenario. Oh yeah, this one is true. So, imagine this night, you're camping on Cannock Chase, and you see some grey humanoid creatures moving in the woodlands. What could they be? So of course, people hypothesised that they could be aliens, but it turns out that a colony of wallabies was breeding after being released from a zoo in the 1930s. I'll give these particular marsupials 5 molders, I think, because it's true. And wallabies are cute. Alright, with that, let's head into Milford and go find ourselves a beer. Preferably a really warm one. Do I jump on the rope swing? Of course I do. That was a fail, wasn't it? But at least I tried. It's a nice downhill now to Milford Common, you can see there. A spot I spent many teenage years drinking warm cans of Carling. Whoop. The world's saddest snowman. Poor little guy. Running across Milford Common now. See the barley mow. That's where we're going today. It's not going to win any Pop of the Year awards, but it's in a good location. It's time to take the sunglasses off now, isn't it? So this pub was built in 1780 by Sir George Chetwynd, a name pretty synonymous in these parts. There's an old coaching house, an inn, for people passing through the area. Unfortunately, you won't see much of that history in there now. It's not great, to be honest, but whatever, it's been a great run, and I'm happy that I've got this point. Well, I'm not sure I've learned a huge amount on this run, and I suspect you haven't either. If anything, I feel more stupid than when I started. But hey, that's not the point. It's a pretty day out. I enjoyed slipping and sliding everywhere. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you're a ghost. Till next time, see ya.